The WWA World Wrestling All-Stars existed from October 2001 to May 2003. When WCW and ECW got bought out by Vince McMahon, there was a gap in the market for a WWE alternative, and 3 notable companies would end up getting created early on to try and fill in this gap. There was World Wrestling All-Stars, created by concert promoter Andrew McManus, the XWF, launched by Jimmy Hart, and NWA TNA, founded by the Jarretts. McManus was first out the gate with the Australian-based WWA, and thanks to McManus's connections in the entertainment business, he got himself on pay-per-view on the 26th of October 2001 after just one tour of Australia. The show didn't air in the United States though until January 2002. He brought on Jeremy Borash as booker and head of talent because Vince Russo was busy. I'm not making that up. And the WWE roster pretty much consisted of guys who were either rejected by WWE or guys who had no intention of going to WWE. WWA's first pay-per-view was named Inception. This will be my first time ever watching this show. Is it going to be WCW 2.0 or something even worse? I have no idea. But let's find out as we check out the first ever pay-per-view from World Wrestling All-Stars. First of all, the production looks okay. It's not at WWF 2001 levels, but for their first ever pay-per-view, this doesn't look bad at all. We're in the Sydney Superdome tonight. A respectable 8,500 fans are in attendance. Jeremy Borash and Jerry Lawler are on commentary. Yeah, this is when Jerry Lawler left WWF after his wife, the cat, got fired. And our show opens up with WWA Commissioner Bret Hart coming to the ring, holding the WWA Heavyweight Championship. He has generic rock song number 6 as his entrance music.
The first time we've seen him on television in well over a year. What does he have in store for the fans of Australia?
Hello, Australia. Oh, it took me 23 years to get here.
Oh, wow.
Well, we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. I just want to say a few quick things. First, I want to apologize that I didn't know what I missed all these years coming down here to Australia.
This is his first time in a ring in Australia on television for this pay-per-view.
I like to think I saved the best for last.
There you go. I think he'll be coming back.
It was almost 1 year ago to the day that I got turfed by the WCW.
Uh-oh. Bad memories.
So for the past year, I stuck to my word when I promised myself that I'd take a full year off and not do anything, not even watch wrestling. And it's been a lot of fun being away from it, but I'm back. I'm happy to be part of the WWA.
Sorry to interrupt, but the piped-in crowd noise here is absolutely abysmal. Why can we hear people getting slammed on the mat during the promo? Why are fans cheering for nothing? I can't stand when WWE pipe in crowd noises, and I'd rather listen to a dead crowd than a fake crowd, but at least WWE know when to correctly add in crowd noise.
I want everybody to know, a few weeks ago, I came down here to do a little promotional work for the WWA, and one of the last sort of great memories I had when I was here was doing the Rove show.
Rove McManus, rumored to be here tonight. The Rove.
And then from there I went to my hotel and I found out about the World Trade Towers being bombed.
Wow.
And I kind of got stuck here in Australia. I couldn't get out of the country. And I just want to say that it was a tough time, I think, for me and everybody, at least all the good persons in the world. But it meant a lot to me to find the kindness from all the people right here in Australia. And I went through a tough time, but I'll never forget how good the people were here to me. Thank you very much for that.
Absolutely. Bret Hart means what he says. A very tough time for all of us.
I want everybody to know I'm not going to be a token commissioner. I'm going to have a lot to do with the matches and how they come out and the people back there in the dressing room. I know they got a lot of heart. But whoever wins this championship belt tonight, he's going to have to work damn hard for it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Now, the way I recall things, when I was in the WWF...
Oh, here we go. You can't start a new promotion without burying the competition, can we?
Oh, hang on a minute. I recall that, too.
I was the world champion there.
That he was.
And there's not one single wrestler in that damn company that ever beat me either.
Take note, Hollywood.
And then there's the WCW. Last thing I remember, literally, is that I was the world champion there and nobody ever beat me for that title either.
Got a point.
So I look at myself, I look at Goldberg, I look at The Rock, I look at Stone Cold Steve Austin, Chris Benoit, and even that piece of shit Vince McMahon.
Whoa! Hang on a minute now. Hang on.
Not one of them's got anything over me because nobody ever beat me. So in a lot of ways, I look at this belt and the winner of it tonight that puts his name engraved on this here belt right here is basically going to be taking my belt and it'll be his. So I'm going to pass the torch tonight.
Wait, so Bret's saying that this belt, which looks awful by the way, is carrying on the lineage of the Hitman's own title runs? That's okay, that's one way of adding prestige, I guess, but come on. Bret really threw The Rock, Steve Austin and others under the bus for the sake of that piece of shit belt? By the way, the Road Dogg Jesse James was the real first WWA champion. He won the belt during the company's first tour, but it got vacated for the sake of this pay-per-view.
And it's nice to be part of a company, the WWA, a wrestling company that's got a little bit of integrity.
Wow. How about that? Coming from the man, the Hitman.
So, I think it's time to let the matches start.
Oh, yeah.
Let the fun begin. Because you Australian fans deserve the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Thank you very much.
We go to our commentators, and I noticed something when skimming through this show. The commentary's getting played through the arena's PA system, meaning fans and the performers can hear every word being said by Borash and Lawler. I'm sure we're going to find out why this isn't a good idea very soon. Borash says we're going to have a tournament tonight named the 7 Deadly Sins. Ooh. 7 matches are going to take place and every bout's going to have a stipulation. The winner of this tournament becomes WWA champion. The final match is going to be a steel cage bout, but we'll also see Devon Storm versus Norman Smiley in a hardcore match, husband and wife Vampire Warrior and Luna Vachon in a black wedding match. This is not a tournament match, by the way. Konnan with one N taking on Road Dogg with one G in a dog collar match. The winner gets an extra letter for their name. And we'll also see Jeff Jarrett versus Nathan Jones in a guitar on a pole match. I thought Russo wasn't available for this pay-per-view. First up though, we've got a cruiserweight ladder match, Juventud Guerrera versus Psychosis. Juventud Guerrera comes out first and he grabs a microphone.
Finally, the juice has come back to Australia!
They never thought it would happen.
He goes on to tell everyone that the Juice is back and he wants fans in the arena to cheer for the Juice during this match. When you have to ask fans to cheer your name, then you know you're doing something wrong. Psychosis is out next and our match begins with a tornado DDT from Juventud. The competitors look a bit distracted by the commentators calling their moves and I'm just waiting for Lawler to say the wrong thing and someone getting pissed off. Psychosis gets the ladder dropped on his head when the two go to the outside, and he takes another shot when Guerrera slides the ladder into the ring. This looked pretty good. After Psychosis gets whacked in the face one more time with that ladder, I began to realise why there's so much piped in crowd noise. The audience must be too busy listening to the commentary rather than investing fully in the match. This is the DVD version of this event that I'm watching right now, and I wanted to find the actual pay-per-view release to hear the crowd, and yeah, it's absolute silence. Have a listen.
The Juice working on that cut, putting the boots to Psychosis. As that ladder is draped ominously over the top rope. Wait a minute, hang on. No, don't go there.
The pay-per-view version also has a much longer runtime, but I'll let you know what happens a bit later on. Juvi ends up getting dropped on the ladder after he sets it up on the top turnbuckle. He gets placed over the top rope and Psychosis performs a leg drop from the top of the ladder. We then get a shot of the WWA Cruiserweight belt, and I actually prefer this more than their heavyweight belt. Though it says United States Light Heavyweight, and Borash said it's the International Cruiserweight belt. Juvi dropkicks the ladder and Psychosis falls onto the top rope. Guerrera then goes to grab another ladder, but it gets dropkicked in his face. The second ladder gets set up in the ring and Psychosis gets thrown into it. And Juventud then rearranges the ladders only to slip when jumping off. The ladder then falls on the referee, and not only does our official have to put up with the pain he's currently in, he also has to listen to Jerry Lawler laughing at him on commentary. The competitors get up and we see a sunset powerbomb from the top of the ladder. Juvi signals for the 450 and there it is. Guerrero wins our opening match in the International Cruiserweight belt, or whatever it's called. So that's the WWA's first pay-per-view match in the books, and it was okay. It only had like 2 or 3 decent spots to be honest, and all in all it was a pretty forgettable ladder match, but it wasn't an absolute train wreck or anything. WCW 2.0 continues on with the the Starettes. Nitro Girls, these are not. As they perform their routine, they get to hear Jerry Lawler perv on commentary. The routine kinda makes you appreciate the Nitro Girls if I'm honest, and I never thought I'd say that. Backstage, Rove McManus, an Australian TV host, comedian, presenter, I don't know, but I'm sure some Aussies will correct me. He arrives to the building along with Nathan Jones. They look down on Lodi and Lenny Lane while the West Hollywood Blondes say that these boys have no fashion sense at all. Elsewhere, the Disco Inferno finds some guy backstage and he gives him his credit card. Disco needs security tonight because he's getting mobbed by fans, so Disco tells this boy to hire a few suits, and the guy runs off to spend all of Disco's money on hookers and blow. Next, we have a dog collar match, Jesse James versus Konnan, dog versus dog. Konnan gives his usual pre-match promo and he attacks Road Dogg before Jesse can go through his usual shtick, and Konnan then says he's the Mexican champion of the world while finishing off Road Dogg's promo. Listen to what Konnan says next.
Something very interesting, Road Dogg. The other 3 members of DX are gainfully employed and they fired your ass. So I guess WWF had 2 words for ya. Suck it!
What? Hang on.
So hang on, if the other members of DX are employed but Road Dogg isn't, that means wrestling for the WWA isn't a real job. That means Konnan isn't employed either, and neither's anyone else performing on this show. We start off right away with a dancey punch attempt, but it gets stopped with a belt shot to the face. James then gets sent over the top rope and Konnan chokes him out from the other side of the ring, showing us all how stupidly long that dog chain really is. Konnan then performs his rolling clothesline, and as he goes to top the 3rd turnbuckle pad, he gets the chain smashed into his little K-Dog balls. The exact same spots then performed on Road Dogg at the exact same corner of the ring, and Konnan then performs his own version of the dancey punch, only to get clocked by the Road Dogg. Rody then goes to touch the turnbuckle pads and Konnan uses a crowbar to stop his opponent. 2 problems here though. 1, anything goes in a dog collar match, so I don't know why Konnan was hiding the weapon. And 2, the referee can hear the commentary and we've got Borash and Lawler shouting about K-Dog using an illegal object. It makes the referee look even more dumb. Konnan performs the K-Factor, his dog collar then comes off, and listen to the commentary here that further proves my point.
Bringing that foreign object back out.
If he takes that off one more time, he's going to be disqualified? Yeah, well, what about if he uses what he's got in his hand one more time?
Slick Johnson now
Turn
examining
around,
the dog collar. Slick, turn around.
Oh!
Hang on a minute.
And this, ladies and gents, is why you don't play commentary over the PA system. Konnan gets tied up and Road Dogg's able to touch all four corners of the ring, and even though the collar was yanked off Road Dogg's neck after he hit the fourth turnbuckle, Jesse James wins the match and he advances in the heavyweight title tournament. Probably the worst dog collar match I've ever seen in my life. Next up, it's the Norman Smiley vs Devon Storm hardcore match. A big wiggle or two may just make this one match of the night. The action feels a little slow at the opening bell, but Storm pulls off a springboard crossbody before sliding out of the ring. A baseball slide sends Devon into a garbage can, and Smiley kicks the lid into Devon's face. Norman fills the ring up with weapons, but he gets set up for a springboard splash followed by a lion salt. Norman gets up and Devon takes a back body drop, and that no good Devon Storm stops us from seeing the Smiley shuffle. I am not impressed. A chair shot to the head busts Devon Storm open, and our match continues with Norman pulling a table out from underneath the ring. He sets it up on the outside before getting in the ring to perform the big wiggle. You love to see it. Norman then tries to suplex Devon through the table, but he's unsuccessful. And after getting drop kicked while holding a trash can, it's Norman who gets put on the table and Devon sends him through it with a plancha. The two eventually get up and Smiley goes back in control. He places the trash can on Devon's head before smacking him a few times with a steel chair. Norman then tries another big wiggle at the entrance stage, but he takes a low blow, and we hear Norman scream after a standing sidekick. The two then head behind the curtain where Norman gets pushed into Disco Inferno. Disco's not happy as the two competitors head back to the arena. Norman takes a front wheelbarrow into a guardrail that's set up on the entrance stage, and Smiley gets a chance to recuperate a little when the former Crowbar starts stacking up a few tables. Smiley gets in position, Devon then throws a trash can up to the truss setup around the big screen, and what a great shot that was. He then decides to just dump it on top of Norman once he climbs up there, and our match ends with Devon Storm putting Norman through the tables with a big splash. It's not Devon who wins, by the way. Norman puts an arm over his opponent, and it's Mr. Smiley who wins via pinfall. Again, like the opener, the match was okay, but nothing you'd ever want to watch again. The splash at the end was good, but there's nothing here to get excited about. The guy from earlier on comes back with Disco security. It's the bananas in pajamas. The guy... What's going on here? The guy said these are the fruits Disco wanted. Disco said he wanted 2 suits, not 2 fruits. But our main man, fucking hell. But our main man isn't concerned because he got his hookers and blow. I don't know. Here's a look at our tournament brackets, and it's a bit confusing, isn't it? The Battle Royal should really have its own little rectangle because there's actually a Battle Royal coming up next where the winner advances to the semis. And following that, we'll have Jeff Jarrett versus Nathan Front Row Jones. They call him Front Row because that's where he should be instead of inside a wrestling ring. Bret Hart then has a special announcement about this Battle Royal.
This is Stevie Ray in the back with reigning commissioner Bret Hart. And Bret, I know you got a few words about this big battle royal that's coming up tonight on Inception.
You know, I like everybody in the WWA is busting their ass. That's what I like. You know, it kind of inspires me as the commissioner, as my first act, to take this thing a whole different level right now. I'm going to throw the Battle Royal wide open. It's an open invitational to absolutely anybody that works for the WWA. I'm talking anybody.
No, wait a minute. What? I think you need to explain yourself a little. What do you mean anybody?
Listen, program sellers, the guy selling the t-shirts, the guy that set up the ring. I'll take the bus driver. I'll take anybody. You know those little penthouse sweeties?
I know.
They want a piece of the Battle Royal?
Ooh. They
want to try their luck in there? Go ahead. It's open for anybody.
What about announcers like roving reporters such as myself?
What about them?
Oh, I can get it.
What are you waiting for? Go for it.
Whoop me some ass.
Oh.
Stevie Ray being a backstage interviewer is kinda interesting, but it looks like Stevie's gonna take part in this open invitation Battle Royal. Buff Bagwell's out first, and he's gonna start this match off with Disco Inferno. Random guys are gonna keep coming down to the ring, and the third competitor is none other than Stevie Ray. It's like 1999 WCW. Norman Smiley and Devon Storm then enter this over-the-top Battle Royal. We have got these 5 fighting in the ring for a bit with no eliminations. And our next entrants are Jerry the King Lawler and Jeremy Borash. This is fucking dumb. Borash gets eliminated after a failed super combo to Stevie Ray. He tried his best, but it wasn't good enough. And then we've got Slick Johnson, the other referee, and a cameraman all getting involved in this matchup. Remember folks, this was on pay-per-view. Devon goes on commentary as our next entrant stands on the apron, the nameless female timekeeper / backstage presenter of the WWA promotion. I don't feel bad because Devon Storm doesn't know her name either. She gets put on the mat by Jerry Lawler, and then, my god, Jerry forces himself on top of this poor girl, and she decides to leave the ring after being completely traumatized. I'm lost for words, I really am. It comes down to Buff Bagwell, Disco Inferno, Norman Smiley, Jerry Lawler, and Stevie Ray. The guys plan on jumping Stevie Ray, but only Disco follows through with this plan. This gets a laugh out of the audience, and when this is a highlight of the match, then you know you're in big trouble. They try again, and this time only Norman and Disco charge forward. It's nowhere near as effective as the first time, and just as Stevie Ray gets eliminated, the fucking bananas in pajamas or the fruits in suits make their way down to the ring. That deviant Jerry Lawler can't help himself and he tries to perform a big wiggle on Norman Smiley. He takes a low blow for his efforts, but both Smiley and Lawler get eliminated by Buff Bagwell. So we're down to Buff and Disco. Disco performs a neckbreaker before hitting Bagwell with a Village People's elbow, and our match ends with the fruits in suits eliminating Disco. It's a shame the cameras totally missed it, but I'm not too bothered either if I'm honest. Buff Bagwell wins the Battle Royal and Buff Daddy advances in this World Heavyweight title tournament. This show's rapidly going downhill. Jeff Jarrett faces Nathan Jones next, and Rove McMahon says the only stroking Jeff's gonna do is in his hotel room later on. Nathan, the wordsmith that he is, offers his thoughts on this matchup.
Let's hit it.
Yeah.
This is a guitar on a pole match. Double J, wearing his WCW shirt, gets a bit of heat before the match by saying he's going to go on and win this whole tournament. He also says Bret Hart is not in charge, he is, and he then addresses Rove and Nathan.
So right now, I want that poofter Rove to carry his little scrawny ass down here with the front row Nathan Jones.
Out comes Nathan Jones and Rove McManus. Rove says he's proud to be here tonight because he's a big wrestling fan, and he also says this.
Jeffrey, when you say poofter, it makes you sound like a poofter.
It's so edgy, isn't it? Rove says Nathan's going to be the man who wins this tournament. He's going to slap Jarrett's nuts all over the ring. So here we go, 5-star classic coming up. Rove joins the commentary team as Double J goes to work in the corner. Nathan goes on defense, but he's not doing a very good job. And speaking of not doing a good job, here's a tilt-a-whirl something from Front Row Jones. Double J takes a big boot and he comes back with a jawbreaker. We see the leapfrog body guillotine, and when Nathan goes for a chokeslam, he ends up taking a kick from Jarrett. Nathan's sidewalk slam looks way better than his tilt-a-whirl something or another. Jarrett gets clotheslined out of the ring and Jones follows him out. The two fight at the commentary table before Jones throws his opponent back into the ring, and Nathan pulls off a diving clothesline. Jones goes for the guitar, but he takes a low blow instead. Rove complains about wrestling referees and their inability to see what's going on in the ring while the referee hears every word being said on commentary. Jarrett grabs the guitar and Rove gets in the ring, and it's Rove who ends up getting the guitar broke over his head. Double J then performs the stroke on Nathan Jones, and the chosen one advances to the semi-finals. Double J heads back up the ramp while Nathan and Rove have a little Lex Luger at SummerSlam 93 moment. Jerry Lawler was supposed to hold a special episode of The King's Court next, but he wants to find out who the bananas in pajamas are and why they eliminated Disco Inferno from the Battle Royal. They come to the ring, Jerry tells some jokes, they get interrupted by Lenny and Lodi, and the jokes just keep coming.
It's bad enough we got 2 fruits in the ring, now we got 4 fruits in the ring.
Hang on, King.
Lodi says no one wants to see these bananas, everyone wants to see Lodi and Lenny, and then Bret Hart shows up to sort this all out.
Out of the ring.
Which 2?
2 fruits.
Good question, King.
These 2
Banana
fruits?
outfits.
All right, the guys in the banana outfits.
Juventud. Looks like he's been hit by a train, so he's not coming out. Lawler, get back to your position here by the announcing table and stay there for the rest of the night. And Road Dogg, you're by yourself in this one in a 3-way dance against Lodi and Lonnie. Right now.
All right, there we go. There we go.
So Hoovy can't compete because he got hit by a train? Okay. I also like how Bret called Lenny Loney. That must be revenge for Michael Buffer calling the Hitman Bret Clark.
Heavyweight champion Bret Hitman Clark.
Road Dogg performs a double clothesline, and this sets the West Hollywood Blondes up for some real doggy style. I do apologise. We see a knee lift from Lodi, followed by the Lenny leg drop. Lodi then tells Lenny to pin Road Dogg, but he then changes his mind seconds later, like he just remembered this was a triple threat match. So the Road Dogg gets up to perform the Dancy Punch, but he gets put back down after a double team Bulldog. Lenny stops the referee from counting Lodi's pin, and I noticed a really weird cut in the footage that made it obvious that some of this match has been cut out of the DVD. I went and checked the pay-per-view version, and yes, there's an incredible botch where Lenny pins Road Dogg, but Road Dogg doesn't kick out at 2. The ref just stops counting, and everyone except Jesse James looks really confused. Back to the DVD, and Road Dogg gets his head rammed into the top turnbuckle while Lenny Lane sits on top of it. Jerry Lawler has the cheek to call this absurd. The West Hollywood Blondes continue to stop each other from winning the match, and this, of course, leads to the tag team fighting each other. When Lodi performs a Magistral Cradle, Lawler says these two have been in this position before, and when Lenny covers Lodi after a moonsault, the King tells the exact same joke. It wasn't funny the first time, and it wasn't funny the second time. Road Dogg drops a Dante knee across Lenny's back, and the Road Dogg Jesse James books his spot in the tournament final. Lenny and Lodi put their differences aside, so the West Hollywood Blondes are still running wild, brother.
Stevie Ray in the back with Buff Bagwell, and Buff, you saw what just happened. You were fortunate enough to win that Battle Royal. I got messed around, but before we get into this interview, can you hold this mic?
Sure.
You know, Buff, I don't like looking like a fruit booty when I'm trying to do my J.O.B.
I understand.
Now, can you dig me?
I dig it.
What are you doing?
I'm holding the mic.
Give me the damn mic. I'm the one interviewing here. Now, Buff, you got a match coming up with Jeff Jarrett. Semi-finals match, and I hear you got some special stipulations. Please let them know. Those suckers got to know.
Well, first, let's go back to I did win the Battle Royal, and I was fortunate to do that. And I'm fortunate enough to go out there tonight and show everybody that I'm buff, and I'm the stuff one more time, especially that slap nut Jeff Jarrett, whatever he wants to call himself. But here's the bottom line. Tits, whips, and buff. What? You figure it out.
What? Are you kidding me?
Tits,
what?
Whips, and buff.
Right, so this Bagwell versus Jarrett semi-final is a lumberjack match. The lumberjacks consist of women standing around the ring holding whips. Buff grabs a microphone and he calls Jarrett a slapnut, and Buff starts off with a leapfrog and a hip toss. The King says he's never been in a match like this before, but he has been whipped. Way too much information here from Jerry Lawler. Buff delivers a clothesline followed by a dropkick. Jarrett goes to the outside twice, where he gets playfully whipped on the backside. When Buff gets sent out, the women help him to his feet, and he even gets a neck massage. And there's more weird cuts here, and the producers of this DVD really don't want us to see what really happened during this match. But you know what? I'm not even inclined to find out this time. I couldn't care less. Jarrett gets sent out of the ring again. Double J seems to really enjoy himself. Bagwell takes one of the whips and he shows these girls how it's supposed to be done, because Buff definitely has experience in this field. And the girls then practice their newfound skills on Slick Johnson. Bagwell delivers the blockbuster, but there's no referee. One of the girls count to 3, but Slick says it isn't going to count. The commentators are screaming over the PA that Buff hasn't won, but Bagwell's celebrating like he just did. Double J delivers the stroke once again, and Double J wins via pinfall. I'm not going to lie and say I had high hopes for this event after watching the Cruiserweight match, but I thought it could be okay if it remained somewhat sensible. The more this goes on, the more I wonder what the hell I'm watching.
Now, Lulu, why would you want to fight your own husband?
My own husband. I came here. I came down under to renew my wedding vows. I came here for my anniversary. And what do I get? What does he give me? Good, because he's lost every match he's had since he's been here. Well, I'm fed up. It's over. And tonight, I'm gonna kick his ass. And I'm gonna teach him that he shouldn't bitch and moan at the woman that is taking him from the lips of lust to the jaws of death. As a matter of fact, I'll kick your ass, bitch, if you don't get out of here. Better leave.
Wow.
So Luna wants to beat up Vampire Warrior because he's a loser. Not sure if this is going to help matters, you know. Vampire Warrior says he doesn't want to wrestle when he steps in the ring, but Luna slaps him in the face a few times before the former Gangrel sets his missus on the top rope. He doesn't want to punch her in the face and he backs off, but when Luna fights back, he performs a beel and he instantly shows regret. Luna kicks out of a sunset flip, she falls out of the ring following an atomic drop. Luna then brings in some kitchen utensils, and Luna uses a pair of tongs to squish her husband's vampire nuts. Luna then uses a pumpkin to her advantage before smacking Vampire Warrior over and over again with a bacon tray. She then throws her wedding ring at her husband before spitting in his face, and this is enough to make Vampire Warrior pull off his Impaler DDT and he wins via pinfall. Jeremy Borash says this marriage is probably over, and I don't know, I'm sure they can get on good terms again. I mean, a real couple wouldn't let a little Impaler DDT get between them, would they? I guess Luna got her wish though. Her husband, Vampire Warrior, is now a winner. A match that wasn't included on the DVD featured Danny Dominion dressed in drag taking on Adara James, Violet and Queen Bee. Don't worry if you haven't heard of these women because I don't know who they are either. Danny Dominion spent the majority of his career on independence, though he did have a very quick cup of coffee in TNA. This was a skin to win match that was supposed to include only female competitors, and Dominion lost the match when Stevie Ray showed up to say, "Hey, you're not a woman, you're Danny Dominion." I can see why it was left off the DVD, the match just wasn't good. The steel cage then lowers for our main event and the Starettes get interrupted by Disco Inferno. He ironically says he's sick of watching these girls shake their asses because this is a wrestling show, and Disco enters the cage to challenge the two Bananas who eliminated him from the Battle Royal. This is absolutely absurd and not in a good way. The crowd then chant Disco's a wanker.
Uh-oh. There's that popular chant here in Australia.
Listen to the fans of Sydney.
I'd never heard that word before I came to Australia.
Well, we certainly hear it a lot now when Disco Inferno's around.
I'll take that back home, wanka.
Because WWE can't build these guys as bananas in pajamas, they continue to refer to them as the fruits in suits. I couldn't find out who's underneath those suits, but I'm sure it was two guys who weren't very appealing. Get it? Yeah, so it turns out that these two guys can actually fight, and they give Disco a beating before entering the cage. Oh look, that confirms it. That one right there must be Hulk Hogan. Disco tries to climb out the cage, but he gets followed up there by a fruit in a suit. In the end, the banana gets thrown off the cage and through a conveniently placed table on the outside. Never has this spot looked less impactful. I thought Disco Inferno was going to jump off the cage, but then I remembered that this is Disco Inferno, so instead he gets in the ring to sing a disco song.
That's the way, I like it, that's the way, I like it.
That man is a certified jackass.
Well, this show's died a slow and painful death, and we're just getting prepared to turn off the life support machine. Our main event features Road Dogg and Jeff Jarrett inside a steel cage for the WWA Heavyweight Championship, and Commissioner Bret Hart's going to provide commentary for this one. It's time to find out who the real Double J is once and for all. Roddy refers to himself as the D-O-double-G, so I guess he got the extra G back. And Double J comes to the ring with generic rock music number 9, though it does have the Chosen One soundbite at the beginning of the song. Jarrett says he's going to make Bret Hart proud before stepping inside the ring, and the match begins with Road Dogg kicking Jeff's ass. Jarrett quickly turns it around as Bret reminds everyone that the Hitman's going to pass the torch to one of these guys. Road Dogg takes a few shots, but he comes back with a hard forearm. We then see that these WWE geniuses have put a cameraman right inside the ring, and he instantly becomes a problem when Jarrett gets pushed in the corner. But it looks like it's over already as Road Dogg performs his dancey punch and dancey knee. By some miracle, Jarrett kicks out, and Road Dogg gets thrown in between the cage and the ring ropes. James takes another few bumps at the cage. We see the Jackie Fargo strut. Double J continues to play up to the audience, and now it's Double J's turn to taste some steel. The two climb up the cage, they then start throwing right hands. Jarrett then climbs down and his feet hit the floor, but Bret says this is pinfall and submission only. This makes Jerry Lawler wonder why Jeff wanted to climb down in the first place. Road Dogg climbs down too and Jarrett gets whacked with the ring bell. Double J's been busted open and it's quite the blade job he's pulled off here. The two get in the ring, Jarrett locks in a sleeper, it goes all the way down to the mat and Road Dogg starts playing up when getting back to his feet. Jesse applies a sleeper of his own and this gets broke up with a back suplex. Road Dogg kicks out of Jarrett's cover and when the two get up, Double J takes a big boot. The referee then gets wiped out with a running forearm and Jarrett goes out to grab his guitar. The guitar gets broke over Road Dogg's head. Jarrett then locks in a sharpshooter. Double J tells Bret to ring the bell, but Bret says no. Jarrett has to earn this victory. Road Dogg gets up, he dry humps Jarrett so hard that the referee takes a bump, and this leads to the Road Dogg locking in a sharpshooter. Road Dogg looks to Bret, but the hitman won't ring the bell. Jeff's tapping out, but there's no official to make it official. So Bret decides he's had enough of this god-awful pay-per-view, and he decides to walk up the ramp while holding the heavyweight championship. Road Dogg stops Bret, he gets back in the ring holding the belt. Jeff performs the stroke right on top of that belt, and a second referee counts the pinfall. Double J wins the WWA Championship in a convoluted cage match. Bret Hart doesn't seem too happy with Double J winning the match and the commentators are calling the hitman resentful and bitter. Not sure if they're trying to plant seeds for a heel turn and it doesn't really matter anyway seeing as WWE didn't have a TV deal. But the show ends with Double J getting put on a sharpshooter and there you go. An absolutely terrible show that makes WCW's late pay-per-views look like WrestleMania 17. No, that's a bit of a stretch really. One thing I will say, to WWA's credit, the general production of this show wasn't awful, bar the audio. Commentators on the PA system was a stupid idea, and the piped-in crowd noises used on the DVD was hilariously bad. The overall arena setup and the camera work was alright though for their first show, but this event took a serious nosedive after the first match, and it's incredible that more WWA pay-per-views went live following this one. The action in the ring was pretty atrocious, and the ideas that played out on TV were equally as bad. Disco Inferno fighting bananas in pajamas, I don't know. Not sure if you guys want to see more of this garbage, but maybe there's a few decent matches in later pay-per-views. I really don't know because I haven't watched them yet. So let me know in the comments if you want to see more WWA bullshit on Wrestling Bios. Thanks for watching though, I do apologise, and please take care.